What's the first thing you think of when you see someone in a wheelchair? The first thing you may think is, what's wrong with them? But why is it something wrong with them? What if they were just born a certain way and they've adapted? How about thinking, hey, that's great that a wheelchair allows them to show up, or that sign language exists, that they found adaptations to make their life work with the everyday outside world. Different perspective, yeah? When you see this symbol, what do you think? What do you think is the impact of eye contact with a person who is disabled? What things have you heard about people with disabilities? Which do you think are true? Which do you think are myths or outdated? Unlike race, disability can happen at any time. What might life be like if you found yourself disabled and had not learned about life with a disability ahead of time? What if you had? Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is a genetic disorder of the connective tissues, and what that means is all of the proteins that hold your body together, such as tendons, ligaments, all the stuff that makes you nice and tough, does not exist in me, and that's why my skin does what it does. That's why all of my joints dislocate at any time. Life with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is extremely complicated, not only because of the syndrome itself, but because we know so little about it. It affects about 1 in 5,000 to 1 in 10,000, and there's actually an even rarer form that only affects, I think there are fewer than 100 cases. There may even be fewer than 60 ever recorded. There is one type of EDS that is often fatal, the vascular form of EDS, affecting the connective tissues of the heart. We are susceptible to spontaneous organ rupture, arterial collapse, any number of complications that we have to look out for. So going to the hospital can actually be one of the most troublesome things because there's so little research on it. That said, you can't just explain EDS away with a stereotype. You can't say, no, I have MS, and have people understand what that means. It's just not commonly known. So it's like being a minority within a minority. Like all situations that are rare, where there's a group of people that assemble in order to survive, we have our own culture. We exist in the culture of, our mascot is the zebra, and that is based on the medical adage, when you hear hoof prints, think horses, not zebras, because doctors are trained to look for the most obvious thing first, and our argument is that zebras do exist. We have our own language because we have to learn all the types. We learn the nosology, what's classical type, hypermobile type, vascular type, kyphoscoliosis, and there's a couple of others out there. The verdict is out on how many subforms there are because, again, there's just not enough research. When stem cell research could help so much of the medical community, we're on that list of people who need it. Some days I have 14 splints on my hands just to make them work. Some days I don't have any. Most of the time I'll wear splints as a preventative measure based on the activity that I'm doing. I have to pack ahead of time to make sure that I have all the right braces for that day and for the activities of that day. If I don't, I risk becoming injured. And something that takes 2 weeks to heal for the average person, let's say a sprained ankle, takes 6 months or more if it heals at all. So it's kind of like being made of porcelain, with nothing to hold it together if it comes apart. That said, a lot of the comments that I get are, boy, that looks like it hurts. And the more braces I have on, the more comments I get. Oh, you're not feeling well today. And it's actually the opposite. If I have more braces on, it means that I'm feeling better, and I'm usually protecting myself so that I can do something. And that's where a wheelchair comes in. Because if I have a chair, I'm able to show up. I work in a building that is completely accessible, but I have full-time employment. I go to school. I live at home. Well, I live on my own, rather. I don't live with my family. I live with my wife. I have a full community life. I have a place in the EDS community. Because I know the language very well, I'm able to help people who are newly diagnosed, people who don't necessarily know what it's like to live with a disability ahead of time. However, EDS is different because you're born with it. It's genetic. It shows up whenever it wants to. Some people who end up diagnosed have been this way all their life and they just never had a way to deal with it, and suddenly it becomes psychologically overbearing. And what happens is they start to separate from society, and society doesn't say, hold on a minute, and it's the responsibility of good family and friends to say, don't drift away just because you have a disability. And so, when you find someone who's become any flavor of disabled or chronically ill, there's no reason not to continue making eye contact as though they were the same person they were before you knew they had a diagnosis. And if you see someone in the store or anywhere out in public who is in a wheelchair, has crutches, regardless of their size and shape and their cognitive ability that you perceive, you may find that you will learn a lot from those people just by being around them.
Skeleton, you are my friend, but you are made of bone. And you have got no flesh and blood running through you to help protect the bone. Skeleton, we have been friends for years, and you have seen me through some trials and tribulations and some tears. But everybody thinks I'm weird, and I should have known that it wouldn't be long until you've got me standing in an awkward position with unwanted attention and a need for explanation.